Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. Today we're going to do Bernie's button bracelet, and it's a peyote stitch bracelet using SuperDuos, and it's got a nice big button and a big loop, so I'll put this one on, and so that's how it looks. It's got a kind of a cool little edging that you can do in several different ways, which I'll show you when we get to it. I named it Bernie's button bracelet because you know, Bernie is a part of my YouTube videos. So he got a name for his a bracelet named after him. So this is how it looks. It fits low on the wrist. You can make it a little bit tighter. I think it looks prettiest this way. So this is the Picasso one. Let's take that one off. It's really easier to get off than I show it to be. I'm just trying to keep myself in camera, so in frame. So that's the sort of Picasso one. This one is very popular on Facebook, and this is made with that matte Apollo. I get the actual name of it, but it's matte Jet Apollo. SuperDuos and round beads, pretty. This one's another version of the Picasso, Jet Picasso. And what I've done here is I've just put sort of a shinier bead around the edges, and I think this would have been nice with a shinier button. And you know, I just did the shiny beads, silver beads on the loop. And this was my little sample that I'm going to work on today, which I totally love. It's really cute, and I think that it's going to be a really pretty bracelet. So that's that one. It's more of one, you know, to wear with jeans or whatever. So that's going to be a pretty one. And also I thought I had you know, several grams of sort of a clear crystal SuperDuo and some 3 millimeter Swarovski crystals and some of these either silver or gold O beads, and I thought, you know, you could make a dressy version out of this. Now that's going to be interesting to take such a casual bracelet. And actually I have a clasp that has rhinestones on it, and you know, it's crystally, and so I think this could be cool if just making it that. So I will probably make it that way and post it on Facebook just to show you that you can take something so simple and so casual and make it into something that's a little more dressy. And so that would be cool. I'll make that, you know, in the coming weeks, and I'll post it on Facebook. But right now we're going to do this one. So I'm going to go get a materials list, and I'll give it to you, and we'll get started. Okay, so right now we're going to be working with the SuperDuos and a few 11-ohs. So put on your stop bead. I'm using a short piece of thread. If you can use a wingspan or two, that would be great. I wouldn't even do 2 wingspans. I mean, you're going to have to add thread. Sometimes if you use, you know, 10 feet of thread, by the time you get, you know, towards half the project, that thread has gone through so many beads it starts to wear. So I'm very much, I'm really fine with you adding thread. It's certainly up to you. You could, if you could do 2 wingspans, you know, do 2 wingspans. If not, add some thread. So let's just get started. We're going to take a SuperDuo. We're going to take a 11-oh, a SuperDuo, an 11-oh, a SuperDuo, 11-oh, and a SuperDuo. Now my advice would be to check all the holes on your SuperDuos. Now these I've checked, but you never know. You could still come across one that is, you know, has blocked, the hole is blocked, and that's such a bummer. Okay, so 4 SuperDuos with 3 11-ohs in between. Hold it so the top holes of the SuperDuos are coming out. If you have to put it on the mat, that's fine too. Any way that's comfortable for you to hold it. You will find as beginners, as you bead over time, you will find ways of holding your project that are easiest for you. Ways of turning it, ways of getting the beads on. So just you will find your way. If it doesn't work one way, try another way. So here, this works for me. It still falls out of my hand, but still. Okay, so you have your 4 SuperDuos and your 3 11-ohs. Okay, so we're going to hold those. Without any beads, go through the top of that first SuperDuo. Okay? Take SuperDuo, go through the top hole of the next SuperDuo. SuperDuo, go through the top hole of the next SuperDuo, take a SuperDuo, go through the top of the next SuperDuo. Okay, so that's what you have. Now I generally turn it around because it's comfortable for me to work away from myself. You don't have to, you can just come back down again. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick up a SuperDuo, drop it down, okay, make sure that the top hole is showing, and go right through that same SuperDuo without any thread. So you're just attaching that one on. See? Take a SuperDuo, go through the next SuperDuo, take a SuperDuo, go through the next SuperDuo, take a SuperDuo, go through the next SuperDuo. Okay, so here we go. Flip it around, take a SuperDuo, bring it down, go through the top. Don't worry about it if it doesn't go all the way down and you go to the top. You can pull it down. This is very forgiving. You know, the beads will go where you put them. Sometimes, they get out of shape, or the threads pull, but you can always get them back in. Okay? Go through the super top hole of the SuperDuo, go through the top hole of the SuperDuo, take a SuperDuo, put it on. I'm sort of changing the way I do it a little bit, just for those of you who don't don't flip your work. So now I'm just going to go down the top for those of you who say, okay, I don't want to flip. So you've got that one on, no thread, just went through the top hole. SuperDuo, go through the top hole of the next SuperDuo, pick up a SuperDuo, go through the top hole of the next SuperDuo, pick up a SuperDuo. That could be clogged. I found many clogged holes, especially in the SuperDuos. Okay, before I go on, so hold it down, bring it down, hold so the top is up there, go through. This is without flipping it, so go through that SuperDuo, and then just go back up again. So I have, especially with these beads that are coated, you very often find, I don't know, a good percentage, I mean not huge, maybe 5 or 10% of the beads that have whose holes are clogged. So you either have to ream it out. I don't have a reamer, so I don't. I would just put them aside. I put them in the reject pile, and that's where they stay until I need, and that big reject pile is a big. Okay, before I go on, just put that SuperDuo on, go through the top hole and pull. So that sinks that one. And you see how that one's a little bit loose? Don't worry about it. It's going to go into place as soon as you put its neighbor on. It needs its neighbor. See, it's kind of lonely, and it's all by itself, and it's just hanging there, not holding on to anything. And wow, see? All of a sudden, really good. I have a big jar that I put all my rejects in, like I have a penny jar where I put a lot of change, and then we just bring it to one of the local grocery stores or whatever as a change converter or whatever. And so that's what I do with my beads. I just, the rejects, I keep them, and then eventually I'm going to make something with all the rejects, because it's not their fault. They still can be made into something. It's just or they could be made into a big beautiful vase full of different colored beads, which could be pretty too. So I'm just going along, filling in the SuperDuos. Okay, so I think you've got it by now. I mean, this was very similar to the wrap bracelet, so you pretty much know what you're doing. So there you go. So just in the few minutes we've done this, we've already got about an inch done. So it's very fast. So continue on, keep going until you get to the last row, and we'll do the last row together, and we'll do we'll get this little clasp on, and then we'll start some embellishment on the sides. Okay, see you in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. So I've come to my last row. I'm going to put one more row on. So I have my, my sort of dangling last, SuperDuo on there. I'm going to add another one. Another one. As my another one. And let's go ahead and put the last one on. Let's make that. I'm sort of picking through these beads a little bit because the colors are different. I'm not going crazy with picking through them. They're sort of random. But when you make a mix, sometimes, you just, if you see you using too many of one color, then throw in another. Okay, so there we go. So we're right here, okay, at the end. So I want you to take an 11-0, and I want you to go from the top of this SuperDuo to hop over to the next one. So we're filling in the holes in between SuperDuos here. Take an 11-0. If I called it a 15-0, I'm sorry, it's an 11-0. Go through the next one, 11-0, go through the next one. Okay, and so this is what you have. Okay, so I think what we're going to do right now is we're going to start the embellishment, do the clasp after. So you're right here, okay? So for your embellishment, this is going to be the fun part, okay? So this is the side. You see so I've got an O bead, an 11-0, an O bead, an 8-0, and then I go back down to the 11-0, the O bead and the 11-0. Experiment with what you put here. I think it could look so cool with the crystal. So right now I'm going to use the 8-0s or drop, but you can use pretty much anything. So at this point, it looks like we could use a half a SuperDuo there, but we don't have those. So what we want to do is we want to make something that looks like a corner. So that's where we're going to do the embellishment. So we're going to take an 11-0, an O bead, an 8-0, or a drop, or a whatever you want to put there. I think you could even put another SuperDuo there and have like daggers coming out the side. I mean, it could be anything. Take an 11-0. Okay, so this is what I have on my needle. Okay, so I've got an 11-0, an 8, an O, an 8-0, an 11-0. I'm sorry, let's try again. Maybe look at my needle instead of listen to me. Okay, so I have an 11-0, an O, an 8-0, an O, and an 11-0. Okay, what we're going to do is we're coming out of the top of this SuperDuo, go through the top of the next SuperDuo, like that. Okay, pull that through. See how we have sort of a corner now? Okay, then I want you to come up the second hole of that SuperDuo you went down. You're going to give it a pull. That kind of pulls it into shape. So again, take your, I'm going to pull my 11-0s over here because they are, it's easier for me to get to them here. Okay. I had such a pretty pile set up there, but it's okay. Okay, so we've got an 11-0, an O, an 8-0, an O, and 11-0. So we're coming out of the second hole of this SuperDuo, the top SuperDuo, go through the first hole of the next one. So you're sort of covering that space. You're filling in over there, but it's over the top. So it's a little, it's got a little space in there, which is nice because it's a pretty solid bracelet. So it's nice to have a little space on this, space through it. Okay. So you're coming up through that second hole. Do it again. 11-0, O, 8-0, O, 11-0. You're coming out of the bottom of that bead, go through the top of the next bead. See, this is where you're covering your thread as well. the threads on the side come up the bottom of that bead. Okay, taking 11O, an O, an 8O, an O, 11O, go through the top of the next SuperDuo, come down, come up to through the next hole. Okay, so there you go. This is what we'll be doing all the way down the length of the bracelet. Now I'll pull in a little bit just for you to look at it. Okay, so you see the pretty, it looks kind of little like little buds. It'd be kind of cool to make this all in like some pretty turquoisey green. I didn't have the SuperDuos for that. And then make the flowers, you know, sort of colorful. It could be, that could be nice for the summer, or you can, you know, just do, you can do fall colors. Anyway, so do that all the way down. When you come to the last one, oops, let me pull that over. When you come to the last one, right here, leave that one, you know, come out here, and we'll do the last one together, and we'll put the first part of the clasp on. Okay, see you in a few. Okay, we're back. So we've gotten the first side of our little buds, pods, whatever you want to call it, done. Now, don't worry if it curves a little bit, because it's all going to straighten out. Sometimes the O beads, you know, you have to sort of coax them into place, but for the most part, it's, you know, once you put it on, it's going to just straighten out and look beautiful. Okay, so we've come to the point where we're at the stop bead, and I'm just going to pull it out of the way for a minute, and we're going to put this side of the clasp on. So, excuse me, take your sequence, so your 11O, your O, your 8O, your O, and your 11O, and go through the top hole, not this one, go through the top hole of that first row that we put on right next to the stop bead. The stop bead's sort of in the way, but that's okay, we'll get that in, okay? And then I want you to go through the first 11O on the top row. So I know it's a little clumsy having that stop bead there, so we'll just put it behind us, or we can sew that in, but I would wait, just because sometimes you can, you know, you can pull it a little bit and pull the beads together. So what we're going to do is we're going to add, you can see on this one, 3 11Os, an 8O, and then 3 11Os. Now with my button, which I have to, I know this is gonna look sad that I'm doing this, but I'm going to have to cut my button off. Sorry, Bernie. We'll get you a new one. So there you go. I've got my button. I know, we always hate to see something cut, but that's okay. So here we are. We're out of that first, and like I said, we can pull it with the stop bead if we need to, but we've got our corner on. We're coming through that first 11O in there, okay? So we're going to take 3 11Os, an 8O, and I want to get sort of a big one because I'm hoping that it will, the hole will stop it. I'm coming through on my button. This is a heavy button. Don't know that you need this heavy a button, so it sort of stops my beads right there, or just go right through with 6 or however many it takes to get your clasp on. I'm just putting a you know, an 8O on one side of it, and then I'm going to come down through the remainder, whoops, of those beads. Okay, so that will pull the clasp. Let me get that, straighten my button out. Come here, you. There we go. So that'll pull the clasp like so. And I have my little stop bead here, which is, you know, which is good because it can pull the beads in. So I'm just going to put the clasp on its side. So this is how your clasp is going to look. You're going to have, now I was hoping that 8O would like kind of wedge itself in there, and it probably will. Okay, so this is where your clasp is on. So you want to reinforce that clasp. So come down through the next SuperDuo. Okay, we're just going to go around a little bit and get up to where the clasp is. The reason I'm coming down the second row is because I want to pop through this one. Sometimes if you fill up that first row too much, it's really hard to get through it. So I'm just going to work my way around. Okay, so here I go to the beginning of where I put the clasp on. So I am going down a couple of rows. You can go straight across, but I really think that it works out better. You know, it can get really full of thread. If you want to do it 3 times, it's going to get full of thread. So here, so we're coming out. Okay, I've got a little stop bead there. So we're coming out of here. I'm not going to go around the embellishment. I'm just going to come up through that SuperDuo, the top SuperDuo, and through the seed bead, and then I'm just going to reinforce my clasp. And this way I've kind of attached my clasp down a little bit, and it's not going to clog up the holes so much. Okay, so I've gone through the 8/0. Now I'm going to go down the 3 11/0s on the side. Now that was my drawer closed. I have my drawer automatically closes, so sometimes it's open partially and then it closes and it makes a noise. It makes everything shake. Okay, so we've come down the 3. I want you to see that, the 3 side beads. Now go back through. The beads, come out the top SuperDuo. Okay, so now with your bracelet, do it again. Now we're just going to, we're going to sew this in after, so don't worry about, about this, being slightly loose. So pull that. Now we're going to start. So here's our clasp. So that was easy enough. Just go through it again, because if you use a heavy button, I want to see maybe 3 passes through there. Now when we sew this other end in, it will all come together nicely. Okay, so let's just put this down. So here we go. We're coming out of the top hole of the SuperDuo on the other side, take an 11/0, an O, an 8/0, an O, an 11. Oop. Okay, all my beads went flying off my needle. So take an 11/0, an O, an 8/0, an 11/0. I'm sorry, an O, and an 11/0. Oh my God, just totally watch what I'm doing rather than listen to me. Okay, so I'm coming out of the top hole. I want to go through, but it's not going to go through this hole. I'm going to pop through the top hole of the next one. Okay, so that's going to give me my other edge. Okay, so see, so I've got two edges on my bracelet now, and I can continue on. So I'm going to go through the next hole. I'm going to take an 11/0, an O, an 8/0, an O, and 11/0. I'm going to come down through the first hole of the next SuperDuo, come up the second hole. Okay, all right, so there you have it. Keep going, do your embellishment on the other side, and then meet me one before the end, and we'll put the pretty loop on. This is the fun part. Okay, see you in a few. Okay, we're back. So we're down to our last group of embellishment, and instead of going through the bottom bead here, I want you to go through the top and then just come all the way down through the top layer, through the top beads, and put that on like so. So you're coming out at the other end by this, I'm flipping mine around a little bit just so it's close to me. So you're coming out this end. So now we're going to add a number of Delicas to make this loop. Okay, I think my number is 26. You'll have to measure and see if it will go through your, through your button. So it should go rather easily because it is an open loop. You're going to see a bit of the loop. So I'm going to do my 26 while you figure out how many you might need. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, come on you, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I know this is sort of the tedious part. It's 20. So I have 26. I'm just going to sort of bring that around, and maybe it's going to give me an idea if this button is going to fit through there. So in order to really get the idea, just come through a couple of beads and sew it on, but don't sew it on tightly. And then put your button through. And if your button pulls the threads, actually my button is pretty good. I think that's going to work. Maybe one more. So then, if you need to add, excuse me, just back out and add another one. And come through the beads, through the top. Again, you have the space to get through them. If you can't get through them all together, then just do them one at a time. So here we go. We've got our loop, the beginning of our peyote loop sewed on. Excuse me. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to peyote this loop, okay? So you're coming out of this bottom bead. I'm going to pick up a bead. You're going to skip this bead and go up the next bead. Okay, and that's going to sit our first peyote stitch in place. Go through, skip the next bead, go through the next bead. Okay, there's your second one. Pick up a bead, skip this one, go through two, go through one. There you go through the next bead. So you see you're starting to get your peyote loop in there, so that's working out very well. Okay, skip this one, go through, you can sort of pop it out with your thumb a little bit, go through the next one. So keep doing that. Skip this one, go through this one. Okay, so you see how our loop is oops, I got a little caught on one of my beads there. I got caught on a couple of my beads. All right, well that's okay. So we'll just, there we go. Okay, so I got my last bead caught. Come on, you. Okay, so it's fighting me a little bit. So, but you get the picture. You just want to keep going around. And I'm just going to pull that one out. But at this point, just keep going around your peyote. So here you go. And then I'll meet you back here after I take out my little messed up one. But that's it right there. So keep going around and I'll meet you at the other end. Okay, we're back. So I took my little knot out. It just took a second. It's just on camera. Sometimes it's hard to take a knot out. So now we're going to finish the loop and we're going to put the 8/0s around. So we're at the end. I have a bead on, so here I am. So I'm going to skip this one and I'm going to go through the seed bead that's on the bottom. And see, I want to get through these beads one more time. So this is, you can be done, so put that on. It sits that bead next to the others, and just go through. You can do it. If you have to change to a size 12, I know it's a lot of going through this same row, but I didn't have any trouble getting through it with my size 10 needle with the other one, so we'll see. Sometimes you just have to go through beads one at a time, especially the SuperDuos, because they're, I don't know, they're just kind of just the way the holes are shaped. They're not as forgiving as far as going through many at one time. And also we have a lot of thread stuck in here. So I'm getting a little stuck on that one. But I'm going to make it through. There we go. Just have to find the right spot. Like there's a spot where you know your needle is going to go through. You feel it. Like on the edge, you know, there might be a little space for you to get that needle through the bead. So I'm going through. Oops. Don't do that. So what I'm going to do here, leaving my mistakes in, because I just sort of went around a bead, so I'm just going to rethread my needle. I just pulled out a thread. Rethread. Keep going. So I'm coming out of that Delicas SuperDuo, going through the seed bead, going through the SuperDuo. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to turn it so I can work easier. I'm going to go through the end seed bead and that first 10 Delica, because we're getting crowded down there. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. So now take your 8/0s. Now this is where I think a drop would be gorgeous, or a crystal, but I'm just going to do 8/0s right now. So just take your 8/0s and go through all the sticking out beads. This is the easy part, and it's the prettiest part. It's like you see it coming together. You see how pretty the 8/0s look against these pretty, the colors look, and it makes it so decorative. It's kind of cool. So keep going. I'm going to go a little faster now, just because I figured we'll finish the video in this this last segment, because we're just about done. So keep going. Okay, going. Hold it any way that's comfortable. So I'm just sort of moving it around a little bit just to make it comfortable for me to get the thread through. And we're coming to the end. This is going to be so cute. Okay. Look how nice that looks. Isn't that neat? I love a peyote loop, especially when you've got some sort of big loop, like a big, really sort of graphic looking one. So go through your last one. Don't get caught like I did. There we go. Go through your last one. Look at it. See what a great job you've done. Okay, and then just go through. We're going through a little bit again. We're going to go through I'm not going to go through the whole top row. I'm just going to hope that I can get through a couple of the beads. There. Okay, so I've gotten through, because we've got a lot of passes through that. So we're going to go through there. And then I actually would like to come out a SuperDuo. So let's see if I can get through this one. Okay, that's fighting me, so I'm just going to go back, and I'm going to just go through a SuperDuo. So this, now what I'm doing is I'm going to do a little reinforcing. So actually I can't get through there. Okay, so I sort of went around twice, but that's okay. So I'm coming out of that seed bead. I'm going to try and get through this SuperDuo, and I think I can. Okay, yes, my needle's a little bent, and I'm probably going to need my pliers. Now, I don't think I'm going to break the SuperDuo. You can change to a size 12 needle, but I don't think it's necessary. Just find your way through a SuperDuo. Okay, I just want to get us to where we can do some reinforcing. So I'm going back. I'm going to go through this SuperDuo. At this point, I don't really mind if I have, see when I go through this one and the one next to it, I'm going to have a little thread over the top of that blue one. That's not going to bother me. You're not going to see that. Okay? That's just not going to show. All right? So we'll go through this one. Okay. All right. So here you go. Here's your, I'm going to sew that in a little bit more. Here's your bracelet. Okay. Here's your, here's your loop. Actually, let me pop through. So I will actually end this so that we can put it on. Okay, so I'm just going to tie a little half hitch knot. I think you can do that. I mean, I don't have a problem doing that with SuperDuos, because you can just pull it into the next SuperDuo. So I'm going to go through that next SuperDuo. This needle is all bent, and I'm going to end it there. Okay, so let me cut the. I'm just going to cut the thread off instead of burning it, because I don't want the video to be too long, and I want to show you your bracelet. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. We forgot one very important part. We want to take off the stop bead. We want to sew this end in. So let's take our pliers. Yeah, I totally forgot about that stop bead. And let's grab a needle. Let's thread it. Okay, and do the same thing here. Just go through a SuperDuo, go through another SuperDuo, go through another SuperDuo. Going a little fast now. I'm going to change directions now. Even though there's going to be a little thread on the outside of a SuperDuo, it's okay. Okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to make a little half hitch knot right there. Pull that in. I'm going to go through the next SuperDuo and out this one. Perfect. Okay, so there you go. I'm going to cut that off and I'll burn the rest of it later. There's your bracelet. Okay, let's move some of our beads out of the way. Okay, let's grab the other two. Here's that one. Actually, other three. Here's this one. Here's this one. Let's put this one on and hope that I made my loop. I'm off camera at the moment just because I want to make sure. Oh, whoa, that went on so easy. I could have done that right on camera. That would have been easy. Okay, so here's the blue one. Pretty. Love. Just love. I just think it's so pretty with the little size 8 peyote loop there. So there's your blue one. I'm going to back out. Can I back out? Let's see if I can back out a teeny bit. Not that much. Okay. Okay, so there's the blue one. Here's the, I'm going to take this one off. Yeah, that's an easy one to come off because see this button? This is a great button because it's not completely round, so there are edges that that you can go through the peyote loop and not have a problem. Here's where our clasp is on here. See? That size 8 I was hoping would pop right in, and it is sort of popping in. So that worked out fine. So we've got our little clasp on. We've got our loop. Here's your bracelets. because it's Bernie's, I'll put him in the picture, and I'll put his bracelet on him, like so. Move these down. I know this is the part where you turn me off. So here's Bernie's bracelet. He's very happy, probably keeps him warm. There we go. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm really not nuts. I'm just, you know, I just enjoy this so much. I just have fun playing with things. Okay, so here you go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.